Da-da-da. Okay. Well, alright, let's do some fan art this time around. Let me see, who do I got on my to-do list? Could do the conductor's wife. Or I might save her for Fat Lovers Club. There's so many on my list. Yeah, I might actually save that for another occasion. Which characters should I use then? Let's pick somebody that's already known. Hello. I'm just looking for a character to draw. Oh, you know what? Since we've been doing the whole beach thing, let's do Skylar's first girlfriend as in the beach outfit. Hello, hello. Let me just grab her artwork. There she is. Do. And let's grab some reference. Let's look for a different reference. Hope everyone's doing alright. Since we've been, like, I'll likely do Marcy in the beach outfit, but I'm trying to spread out between the last time I drew her and that artwork, so maybe I'll go down the list of Skylar's girlfriends now. Since I already drew Tiffany, I drew Fat Blake, and I drew Gretchen already, and then I also drew Skylar's mom. So yeah, it was just go down the list of characters that Skylar knows, although Blake is a special case. Well, I've drawn all of his exes now, profile-wise. But to do the whole beach thing, let's draw his first girlfriend, Fat, and in a beachwear. So right now I'm just looking for some reference art. I mean, it's not like any of this is necessarily canon, and she's technically the slimmest of his exes in terms of when she put on weight. No, this isn't what I'm looking for either. Looking for like decent fat reference. These aren't bad. Yeah, those will work. Alright. We'll let it stay for a bit, but if it starts getting annoying, then we'll have Joanne eat him. Okay, zoom in. Alright. Have her look embarrassed to be at a beach in her condition. And I was thinking for the new Snake CEO, she can also I can also have her run like a burger joint, and it's just a matter of competing for like the best burger. That way, it's a little bit more balanced in what they're competing against each other for. It's like, no way this bitch came out with a fucking with a fucking triple meat burger and a free shake. The fuck she trying to do? Run me out of business? and then it could be like, I need somebody to go over to that bitch's place and get me a burger discreetly. and they walk in like fucking wearing sunglasses and shit, as if it wasn't so fucking obvious. And then she takes a bite out of one of the burgers. She's just like, "Fuck, this is good." And then vice versa can happen with like Helen, going like, she fucked up on the onions, but god damn it, is this sauce good?" or some shit like that. That'd just be fun, like a complete back and forth between the two. Especially if they're the ones that are like taste testing, because they themselves have to know if the food is good. Because they're not going to go off of their employees having an opinion. But like by themselves, when they're running their businesses, then that's when they just improve it through customers. But when they're competing, they're like, "Oh hell no, I'm tasting it." And like, what? 3 burgers for $9.99? Like, motherfucker. Have Abby be all embarrassed. She'd be like, "Did I really have to come to the beach now?" And she's like, she's not like uber fat compared to the others, but definitely embarrassed to be there in a bikini nonetheless. Yeah. So like this. Make her just make her look like she's a bit miserable. Does that work with this? It could work. There we go. That's much better. If I do that, just a matter of balancing out where that little wobble goes. Yeah, true. But it's mostly like a self-competitive thing. Because they are friends outside of work, but they get very competitive. And even if they're like not technically making the food themselves, they will get into they are known for going to the establishments themselves and seeing what the fuck is going on to make sure that their business is doing well. And I also have a collection set featuring them that I'll be finishing up soon. I just got to finish up Manifasia's artwork. For Abby, yeah. Abby was the one who wanted to date Skylar because he was popular, and in turn would make her popular. Or at least that was her reasoning for doing it. Yeah, that would be funny. It's like, I need you to go figure out what her formula is. And like either of them could be saying the same shit. And then the funny part could be that they grab like a formula that's exactly the same as a recipe they already make. Let's give her some chubby cheeks. It's like, haha, now I got this bitch's formula, and they both say it simultaneously. But like they're not in the same room or anything like that, they just happen to say it at the same time. And then they make it, and it's exactly the same as before. But then after work, they just go drinking or something. And it'd be even funnier if like neither of them know that they're jumping through all those hoops. I mean, I would prefer for them to know that they're doing it, but it'd be funny. They're both jumping through so many hoops to outdo each other. And then when they like hang out, they're like, tough day at work, like, yeah, you wouldn't believe. Well, she's the one that broke it off with Skylar because she was super embarrassed for getting so fat. And then, you know how teenage girls talk at that point in time, so she just got more and more embarrassed. And just broke it off. So she definitely got off lightly compared to the other two. It's like one is dead and one wishes she was dead. And then you got Marcy, who's like, fuck yeah. This one's a little bit higher up. I will do another Skylar's lady set. I'm just trying to keep them spread out so that they're not bundled together. So maybe not this season, but the next season we'll get the next ones, which will be Pepper and Marcy. And if we want to do bonus ones after that, it would be Tiffany from the True Ending and or not True Ending, Tiffany from the Neutral Ending and Mars from the Neutral Ending. They're all embarrassed. And then I'm gonna try to start streaming comics more often. But if there's something I can't show, then I just can't show, and I'll have to work on something else during that stream. And then Secrets is a special case because sometimes I'll show what I'm working on for that, but when it gets to like the bread and butter parts, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to not stream that if I'm gonna have people going to the 20 tier to support it. So it'll be scenarios like that. So let's do her body first. Yeah, it's like once Marcy became more comfortable with being a very big woman, she just started to, flaunt it more. Not like, not like what's the phrase I want to do it? Not like shoving it in people's faces type of thing, but just like, you know, walking with a little bit more pep in her step type of thing, and just, you know, okay with being oogled at if anyone's interested type of thing, where it's like, oh, someone's into a woman with a fat ass or big titties or big belly or whatever. She's fine with being looked at in that way. And like knows what she's got thanks to Skylar upping her confidence. Whereas Abby did not want to be looked in that way, at least not in her mentality, because she'll be thinking that people are looking at her because she's so fat and stuff like that, and like mocking her. And most of it is all in her head. Like, obviously, during the time, you know, teen girls are going to talk and shit like that, so there's no avoiding that. But if she were to be fat when she's older, she'd probably be less worried about it because she's, you know, matured over the years. And that could be the case, like, during the time skip, she could be a little bit more heavier compared to when she was younger. And, like, let's just say there's a scenario where she's talking to Skylar after all these years. She would be like, oh my god, I can't believe I was so freaked out about putting on so much weight. And she's, like, kind of over it. It could go either or, honestly. I could say she's put on a little weight, but nothing like major. Because I don't want to just say, oh, every character, or every female character after the time skip has put on weight. Because that just, you know, takes the fun out of it. But I can definitely see Abby putting on just a little weight. I would say, like... where is it? I would say Abby would be... after the time skip, Abby would be... Where are you? I would say probably be either the Blake Dinewell weight gain drive, like number 1, or I would be fine with number 2. Either of the two. I'm leaning more towards number 1, but number 2 would be fine, or at least like a middle ground between them. So something like that would make sense to me. Just something noticeable. Yeah, I could see Abby being like really self-conscious about eating. Because she won't know if she'll blow up again the way she did when she was dating Skylar. Because she doesn't know Skylar was the cause of that, and Skylar had just learned he could do that at that point. And it was completely unintentional. Like, he didn't do it to her on purpose. And I could see Skylar like trying to convince her that it was fine, but she wouldn't have it. It's just her personal mentality of it. So if she was more into it, then they likely would have stayed together. Yeah, yeah. And then Skylar telling Marcy that he's completely fine with, bigger women and stuff like that, so that she doesn't have to freak out about it. Kind of reassures, to her at least, that Skylar will love her no matter what. Like, obviously he has a fat kink, but she doesn't have to worry about that. And thus both of them get to have more fun. And then, Marcy basically hits the jackpot in that category. Or in that area. Thank you. Even if it's with a dubious talent, she found a niche. Yeah, exactly. She's like, hey, I found something other than writing that I'm good at. Downing 30 burgers or something. Which, to Skylar, he's just gonna say, that's hot. I could see, like, them having sexy nights where Marcy puts on something like a skimpy outfit as she walks over to the dinner table and grabs, like, 3 burgers and starts chowing down in front of Skylar. Pushes him to a chair for him to sit down and watch as she's, swaying her hips around and eating. I can go into more detail, but you get the point. Yeah, Abby is like literally if she's literally just Marcy, but like she worried too much about, social pressure. And then she was, dating Skylar for the wrong reasons. Because Marcy didn't want to date Skylar because he was popular. She just, she wanted him because she actually fell in love with him. Like a love at first sight type of scenario. If Abby wasn't so, what's the phrase for it? Like objectifying comes to mind, but I might be using that wrong. But like if Abby wasn't in that mindset, then things could have worked out. I could see Abby meeting Marcy later down the line, and then talking to Skylar, going like, he's like, goodness, goodness, Skylar, like, yep, that is definitely your type. And maybe Abby has seen like his other exes at some point, but I would say if she actually interacted with Marcy, the two would pretty much get along. I could see the two not having any issues. Let's save. Fix up her figure once I put her in a decent stance. But yeah, like I could see Abby seeing Marcy and just click, go like, and that explains a lot. Yeah, exactly. She'd be like, oh Jesus Christ! If I was with Skylar, I'd be huge. But like, if it's just her and Marcy hanging out, she would genuinely think Marcy's a nice girl. Marcy might be a little weary at first, but she would quickly warm up to her. She's like, "Oh my god, this is his first girlfriend, his first love. Like, what if he still has like passion for her? Blah blah blah. You know, just running through the typical romance novel type of thought process that she'd have." But then immediately realize that she has nothing to worry about, and that Abby's pretty cool. Like, I could see her, Marcy and her hang out like often. Like, I don't know, maybe like a few times a month or something like that if they're not too busy. Or even like Marcy introduce her to her other friends like Blake and Stacy. See like Skylar's kids and she's like, "Oh my god, they're adorable." Like, here's Aunt Abby. So yeah, I honestly think Abby has like the better position of Skylar's ex. I mean, obviously compared to the other two. She's like, "Do I really have to be here like this?" I was like, "Yes, Abby." Yeah, yeah. She was like Skylar and her were like really young when they first dated, so she just matured over the years and realized that she freaked out over nothing. But she definitely didn't want that kind of figure. So she's happy that even though she might be a little bit upset that things didn't work out or that she broke it off with Skylar so soon or so early in their lives, that she's happy for him. And then she's happy she has her own relationship with somebody. Let's fix her finger a bit. And then she's probably got kids or something, so she'd probably have a bit of a mom bod by that point. God wills it, Abby. It's like, Abby, you're in my favor. And if they had some like portal to see what happened to the other two, it was like, oh shit. it's like oh shit. Definitely dodged a bullet there. Literally. Oh yes. Abby would be amazed to see how much Marcy could put away. She'd be like, God damn. Marcy be like, Skylar can't get enough of me, and Abby would be like, well, there's plenty of you to go for him to get. So they have like, you know, little jokes here and there, so it'd be cute. Hello, hello. Yep, this is Sonic R's soundtrack. Peak music. Like, most Sonic games have good music. Only like a small handful of games have either bad to it's okay. But most of that are from like the Game Gear games or something where the music is limited. And then of course the questionable music of Brotherhood, because I think some of the music had to be like thrown out or redone or something. From what I heard, at least. I could see Abby being intimidated by Blake. Just like unsure if Blake like dislikes her or not. She's like, should I be afraid? Say, no, Blake is fine. Blake staring daggers at her for some unknown reason. Of course, this is like years later, Blake, so she'd definitely give that tone. At least until she's like sure that Abby isn't trying to do shit, which she'd find out pretty quickly, so she wouldn't have any ill will towards her. Stacy might be a bit much for Abby, because Abby's not like she's not very into nerdy stuff. But she would probably think Stacy's fun though. She's like, okay, this is fun. Not something she would go out of her way for, but definitely a good time. Whoa, why did that happen? Yeah. It's definitely not that popular. It just seems that way. And then obviously in certain circles, obviously it'd be, a lot more raised up and praised upon. But it's definitely not for every character. And then there will be like circles that promote it to like a dangerous degree. We'll do robots again. Or not again, but we'll do robots. So eventually, well, I hope to get to those stories where we can visit the ups and downs of whatever theme is being on display. Like being modded or cloned or whatever. There's too many ideas, so little time. But definitely after this stream, I'm gonna get back to working on secrets so I can put out the next page. It would have been out sooner, but yesterday I was celebrating my mom's birthday. I could see Blake hitting on Abby, go like it would be like, damn, Skylar, look at them drumsticks, you missed out. And Marcy be like, Blake, he's like, I'm just messing with you. And Abby's just like, Jesus. Thank you. I'll let her know you said happy birthday. Oh yeah. Blake would hit that with Abby. She'd look at Abby like, yeah, I would. Marcy would just be like, Jesus, Blake. She's like, what? Like, I ain't saying no. Just looks at Abby and just makes like a phone gesture to her and just like in his mouth, call me. And Abby's just like, I don't know how to respond to that. Hello, hello. And then Marcy would be like, aren't you married? I can see Blake playing into that too, where Marcy's like, aren't you married? And she's like, oh yeah, right, darn. Sorry, Abby. Sorry, Abby. I'm off the menu. And Abby's just like, what the hell? So am I. So that'd be a cute exchange between them. Or Blake is like, it's like, I don't know, Abby. Girls' night, boy. The boys at home don't have to know. Or hey, maybe they'd be into that. And Marcy just be like, Blake, stop. And that might put ideas in Marcy's head too. She's like, Jesus, no, I don't need this. I don't need that in my head. Because you know, if Eddie were to hear all this, he'd be like, Jesus, fuck. Just thinking in the back of his head, like, that'd be kind of hot. Skylar would probably think the same thing too. He'd be like, yeah, that does sound kind of hot. Of course, he won't voice this. At least not in public, or not around everybody else. He might say it to Marcy in private or something. I could see him like laying in bed as she's like getting ready to fall asleep. He's like, you know, it would be kind of hot if you made out. And she's like, Skylar, go to bed or go to sleep. See, it's discussions like this that keep me going. Skylar has a dream of all of his relationships. Lord knows where the hell that would go. I say as I'm the one that would construct it to go wherever the hell I want it to go. Like, I can make it all, like, trippy with all of, like, his relationships, and then I can make it get all weird. If I toss in either his sister or his mom, he'd be like, what the hell? And then wakes up. Be like, okay. Did not expect that to happen. Keeps that to himself. It's like, yeah, let's not talk about that one. Alright, so pretty much got everything. I think I'm just gonna curve this one to go more inward. It looks just kind of weird like that. Okay, and I'll probably crop out some of her legs because we don't really need all that. Only need like this much. I'll keep the open space though. And let's grab Abby's file. Oh, really? Yeah, and the way I envisioned it, Pepper is the smart mouth one that ended up getting a fate worse than death. Not the best outcome for her situation. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the other feathers. I'll do that in a moment. Dun dun dun. I mean, I can tell you what it is if you don't mind spoiling it. I mean, I already basically spoiled Zasha's situation, so I don't think you'd care, honestly. It's one thing to say, but it's also another to actually see it play out. But I don't mind saying what happens to her. Yeah, she's pretty thick. At least in this pic. That kind of rhymed. So basically, Pepper ends up becoming basically a living garbage disposal. Where Skylar basically uses his influence on her to the point where she's like constantly hungry, but like her body is able to process it and put on weight like almost immediately, and he basically just sells her off to some shady person from the internet, and she's basically just like a living garbage disposal somewhere, just chained up, and at this point she's like ridiculously huge. So if we're going by who's the fattest of all of the Skylar exit or relationships, she is technically the fattest because of what happens to her. And I will draw at least partially what that would look like in one of the art sets, but it'll be a while because I don't want to put those sets so close together. So maybe not this season, but definitely the next one. That's why there was a part 1 to the Ladies of Skylar set. I mean, Blake would be down. I don't know if Marcy would want that. Eddie probably wouldn't have much of a say, but even if he did, he'd probably be for it. And Skylar probably wouldn't mind either, but it's hard to say if Marcy would be down for it or not. Maybe after a few drinks and she's like, okay, let's do it before I lose my nerve. But it wouldn't be like a permanent thing. It'd be like a one-time scenario. All it would really do is just kind of lock in her relationship with Blake more. And for Blake, it would be like a little bit more reassurance of Skylar taking care of Marcy. Eddie is just kind of there for the ride at that point. And it's either going to go down like that, or it's going to go down like a couples night type of thing, where they're both just, you know, banging their respective partner, but they're all in like the same room, and like the boys are like fist bumping, going like, hey, like just having a good time type of thing. Could be that kind of scenario, and that one would probably make the most sense. Like, it'd be hard to envision Eddie doing anything with Marcy. I could see, you know, obviously we can all see Blake making out with Marcy and all that, and I'm sure the boys would be 100% fine with that. They're not gonna object to that. But hard to say if Eddie would do anything with Marcy, and I could see Skylar not doing anything with Blake just because of the setup of that scenario. But definitely the girls having fun. Regarding Pepper. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because that situation for Pepper was the original idea for Marcy. When the original story, well, not the original, but the first run of Marcy and Skylar's story was being thought of, because again, like, each chapter was supposed to be like a day, and it was supposed to end with Marcy being like mind broken and basically turning into something like that. But then that got changed, of course. So basically, save that idea for Pepper. Before they got married. Mostly I could just see Marcy and Blake doing something before marriage. But canonically that wouldn't happen because Marcy wouldn't see Blake for years. And that's just because of the events of the story that happens. Okay, let's put her in a red outfit. Or maybe like a pinkish mauve color or something. But yeah, canonically, no. Like, Marcy wouldn't see Blake till years down the line. Well, 10 years later. Because of Blake's personal situation. Oh, yeah. It's always interesting to think. Like, again, I can always have these characters do whatever and just make it non-canon. That's why it's fun. Because it doesn't have to be canon or anything. And then, if I did want to make it canon, but it doesn't fit the characters or their situations, I can just save the idea for another set of characters. And, just work on them, build up the characters, make them, known and likable or disliked, whatever the case may be. And then, whatever idea we were saving, we just use it on them. So, there's technically no bad idea. It's just making the idea work for the characters we want it to work for, or make it make sense, I guess. Because like obviously, if I wanted Marcy to get like robot arms or something, I could come up with a scenario where that happens. Do I want that to happen? No, because I have Marcy in a particular setup that I would prefer not to do that with. But there's nothing stopping me from doing that idea. It's just I would prefer the idea to be on a better character for the idea. Love this one too. Yeah, I don't draw One Pieces too often, so I wanted to do it for Abby this time around. Sorry I'm not on your art streams. Oh no worries. That's what the streams are for. If you can't be here, just watch it later or something. Like it's not a big deal if you can't come and see the streams as they happen. What species is Blake and Skylar? Also Marcy. Blake's a rabbit, Skylar's a dragon, and Marcy's a cat. And if we're talking about like overall race, they're bestials. Don't need this up since I have that. I need to put like a black box or something because it's weird seeing the text like that. Because sometimes it's hard to see it. So I'll have to fix that later. And let's zoom in because I don't feel like going through all that mess. And let's clean her up a bit. Like some of the mistakes I've been a little bit more relaxed in keeping, like, oh, here's this empty spot with some blue or whatever. And that's mostly just because I know that realistically people are not going to zoom in this hard on the art. But every once in a while I'm like, I would still like to clean it every once in a while. And that's just a personal thing. Because it's one of those things where like most people are not going to notice the problems. But I notice it, and sometimes it gets to me. So figured I'd clean it up a bit. Just the spots that I feel are the most relevant. Yeah, humans are referred to as havens in their world because of the events of the past, where humans try to control a god, and that essentially caused the universe to be reset and remade. And so humans are referred to as havens because it just means fallen humans. That's basically what it means. So it's more of a jab at humans. And then as time progressed, it just became the term for humans. This is Skylar's first girlfriend. And we're drawing her fat because we can. Her name is Abby. She has been teased for years, and finally she got artwork, and she got a collector set artwork, and now she's getting this. And she's not even like super relevant right now. Like she's not gonna be getting a spotlight for quite a while. But good to just, you know, draw her. Bullied for years. Yeah, not teased as in bullied, but teased as in she's been shown in the comics for a number of times and for almost a decade. Speaking of which, I need to get to working on the anniversary set. So much to do. Might have to take time to not stream so I can get stuff like that done. We'll see. If I do, I'll take like a week off from streaming just so I can make sure I get all that situated. Or just work on it during the stream. I don't know. Whatever the case may be. Whatever I'm in the mood to do. Maybe some of them I'll stream and others I won't. But yeah, I could totally see Blake teasing Skylar about Abby. He's like, damn Skylar, you didn't want turkey? Or you didn't want chicken? She's like, what the hell? And then Skylar would reply like, well, it wasn't my idea to break it off. And she's like, yes, that was my idea, but no. Not like that. And then of course Blake will make the lewd phrase of it's like, nah, Skylar wanted pussy anyway. In both Marcy and Skylar would be like, Blake. Still remember her joke with Marcy when she said, "Damn, could have got a Marcy and Jock sandwich." Alas, that did not happen either. Maybe I should draw that at some point, just a what if scenario. It's like, let's just draw that for fun. Just have Blake fantasizing about Marcy in a football orgy. If I did do that, I would name the artwork Marcy Touchdown. And fuck it, we'll just throw Skylar in there just because he's part of the football team too. Pan-Actis with on Blake, right? Yeah, I could see Blake just kind of hitting on Abby a lot. Or basically any of the women, let's be honest. She'd be like, "Take your pick, boys. We got pancakes." Pointing at Stacy. We got all natural. I don't know. Probably points at Abby. We got. I don't know. What's the phrase? Extra meat with herself or something. I don't know, whatever comment she'd say. And then with Marcy, obviously, it would be like supersize. No. She would point to herself and be like, "We got dark meat." Probably have a small snicker from Eddie with Blake's comments. He's like, "Oh God, woman." But yes, overall, they would have a good time with Abby. If that point hasn't been made already. So yeah, whenever I do the anniversary, I'll definitely draw as much as I can for it. See what ideas I come up with. There's been some ideas I want to do, and I've like set aside references for it for when I get around to it. Yeah, I don't do it as often as I should. Most of the time it's just 2 pieces because it's just easier to do. Which you think 1 pieces would be the easier one. Dating her would be like pretty standard. Like she'd want to go see like a movie and be taken to like dinner or something. Just like pretty standard. But if I'm going off of like how she is canonically, she would also want to go somewhere to drink because she has a lot on her mind, mostly family related stuff, and she just doesn't want to think about it. And then if you're trying to have a relationship with her, she'll likely make it clear what you're getting into if you do try to stick with her. And then if you do, she's the kind of type where she's the type where she would wake up in the middle of the night with you, fast asleep next to her, and she would latch on from behind and just snuggle and then fall back asleep type of thing. She might be a bit difficult at times because she would definitely have a number of trust issues. And that's mostly tied to what happens to her during the 10-year gap. Basically, she was taken advantage of and betrayed by friends that she had made during that time, which put her in an awful position for a few years until her foster father got her out of that and then put her in rehab. And then when she eventually got out, she kind of fell into the whole Sinclair family business, like the way they do things around the city. And then her husband, what is originally her bodyguard, and she decided to be with him because of his efforts when some idiots tried to kidnap her for ransom. And her husband definitely did not want to tell her father that she was kidnapped, so he took it upon himself to go save her. He's like, yeah, I don't want to tell your father that you got kidnapped. And so she thought it was very attractive of him to do that. It's like, yeah, obviously it's his duty as a bodyguard, but she thought it was attractive for him to do it himself with no backup. And they definitely fucked around a number of dead bodies when she got rescued, so that was a thing. She's like, Jesus fuck, that was hot. And he's like, what? But yeah, the shit that Blake goes through during the time jump is pretty awful. And so that's why she's a lot more colder after the fact. At least when she's not around her friends, she's a lot more cold towards other people. Not so much obviously not her husband, but she basically has the same presence that her family does. so she's definitely not somebody that you want to piss off. It's like, don't you know who that is? That's a Sinclair. And they're like, oh shit. Especially if some of them get confused and don't know that Blake is Mr. Sinclair's daughter. That just makes things worse for them. They're like, oh shit. And she'll just look at them and be like, oh shit indeed. But she's definitely gotten better when she reunites with Marcy. And she was afraid that Marcy, you know, would hate her for disappearing. Alright, I think we're good on the shading. Oh wait, forgot our legs. I will say yes. There will be a moment where she uses her bat. Mostly when she runs away and she has all her shit with her. So she'll have her duffel bag and like whatever she brought with her, so the bat would be in there. But there will be a point where she no longer has it. I can do weight gain pregnancy, it just depends on the character. Like there was a alien character I had in mind for something like that. I drew her like a long ass time ago. She was like one of the proposed ideas before things got more specific, because this was like during the neutral ending stuff, and that was just one of the ideas. She's not in Blake's not innately violent, but there are moments in her story where she has violent situations come up. Like one of her storylines, or one part of her story is where she was younger, and a bully from school had stolen her doll, one of her dolls that she would carry around at the time. And so once her father finds out that it was stolen, he takes it upon himself to basically kidnap and beat the shit out of the bully. And when Blake, either Blake discovers them all together, or her father just brings her to the bully who's tied up at the point. At first, Blake's confused on what's going on, and her dad just basically tells her that, we're, making sure the bully doesn't do this again type of thing. And so he hands her the bat that she eventually keeps and tells her to hit him just once, really as good as she can. And he explains it to her, it's like, it's only fair. He hurt you, so now you hurt him. And so she does so as instructed. She can only hit him so hard. And then she has either one of the Catherines or Marissa take Blake to go get ice cream or whatever. And then as soon as Blake is no longer within earshot, that's when her father disposes of the bully. Either killing him outright there, or just, cementing his legs and throwing him into a lake or river somewhere, or wherever. Water area. Ocean. Harbor. Whatever is the nearest to them. And then the bat could also be used for like other scenarios that she had been in, like, guys around school getting a little bit too clingy. But definitely needed it when she ran away. Oh yes. Blake's father does not take shit lightly when it comes to others doing shit to his family. When it comes to him doing shit to his family, it's more of a teach them a lesson type of scenario rather than hurting them because he wants to type of thing. It's more like, no, I'm doing it to teach you a lesson. And in Blake's case, the lesson is suffer in a very unfair environment to teach you that you don't just leave type of thing. And that basically everything is under his thumb. So when she tries looking for work, she's just blacklisted from literally everything that's normal. So if she wants to get by, unfortunately, she has to sell herself for that scenario. So yeah, her father teaches her a very cruel lesson. And he keeps tabs on her the entire time, so it's not like he does not know where she is. I mean, he could easily have put a tracker on her when she was young and just never told her. Which would explain why it's been very easy for her father's men to find her. Such as when she gets picked up from the party, or as she's walking away from the party. So yeah, Blake gets a very harsh lesson taught to her. Do. Do. I hope everyone's been enjoying the streams. Hopefully it's been helping get more artwork out there. And it should help out more once I work on more public comics. Let's spell a little bit of reflective light under here. Whoa, the hell? Oh. I was like, why is that so bright? There we go. Yeah. Blake's story is definitely not a happy one. She gets a happy ending though, because of reuniting with Marcy, but a good chunk of it is not that happy for her. And I'm leaving out like a lot of stuff that happens to her, so we'll get there when we get there. I think Blake's is Black Circus #2. It's either her or Skylar. They're the next ones after Joanne. Thank you. I'm glad that some of the techniques I've learned helped make reduce the time it takes to make these. Like a lot of it is around 3 hours, and if I'm just doing this method with one character, it's like 2 hours minus the background. The background takes time if I'm getting all technical with it, but if it's just like a standard background, then I can just, you know, manipulate a photo or make some like a void background. But if there's like actual like context to the background, then that's when I spend time on it. But this is just for fun, so I just find like a random picture to manipulate. Well, that's why I try to streamline how I do things to make things easier and less time consuming. Because when doing comics in this style, they take up a lot of time, so I had been practicing and looking up different methods to like keep the quality but reduce the time. And so when I get back to working on like Black Circus or whatever, it shouldn't take as much time to do like the rendering for the pages. Flat coloring, that's just going to take as much time as it needs to, but the rendering part is what I try to shave off some time with. And then obviously like the painting style takes up a lot of time. Like when I did the plum picture, that one was only the 3 hours because I only did the head. If I was doing like the rest of the body, that would have taken a big chunk of more time. Alright, turn your shit back on so I can know what I'm looking at. So yeah, I just try to do as much as I can to reduce the amount of time it takes for me to work on things. So that way I can put out more and post more stuff and whatever else I can do. Because that was the thing that irked me the most about working on the comic pages, is that I wanted them to stay high quality, but I didn't want them to take forever, so I tried to learn as much as I could to help solve that problem. And so far, this method seems to be the best, but I haven't used it on a comic page yet. So when I do, we'll find out how much easier it is compared to the method I used on the last or on Black Circus, for example, or I Have Volume 2, because those were using the old method. And I can always jump around between between the methods that I've learned for different occasions. Like if I had enough time, I could use the painting method for like a comic cover or something, or whatever method I used for for I Had in Black Circus, if that method is good enough for what I need, then I'll use that. But if this method I'm using is just as good, then I'm more likely to use this one because it shaves off a lot of time. So we'll see. I'll just evaluate between the two of them to see which has what I'm looking for when I need them. So it's good to learn multiple methods because that way you can use them for different scenarios. Right. Yeah, and that's very true. Like, I could make my artwork look as realistic as possible, or, you know, like, make it look like some Final Fantasy style if I ever learn how to do something like that. But if my story is shit, then my story is shit. It's not gonna matter how good the art is. And the only way the art would be any good at that point is if I'm just drawing and not having a story at all. And that's all the bread and butter I'm gonna get from that. So yeah. Definitely, it definitely matters depending on how it's used. Exactly. So, like, unless I'm just drawing, you know, eye candy stuff forever and not telling a story, then I better be at least decent at my storytelling, along with however good my art is at the time. But yeah, I at least try to make it visually appealing, along with my random nonsense of storytelling. Trying to be somewhat decent at that. It's like, I am not a writer. I just read a lot of comics. A lot of comics. All kinds of comics. Even the ones I don't like, I'm like, okay, wow me, and I'll see if it's any good, and I'll be like, the story's good, if only if it wasn't for blank. And then all that really does is just give me an idea. It's like, okay, if I didn't like this story for this reason, then I can tell my own version and just make the changes that I would want. I mean, it literally just boils down to, if you want something done right, then do it yourself. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably getting a little bit better at writing, I guess, because of me constantly drawing comics and doing whatever it is I'm doing. So I guess in some way, shape, or form, I am getting better at writing. I just view it differently. I view it differently because I don't sit down and like write a script. I just go off of whatever I've established and then go from there. So like the script is technically whatever it is I put out and whatever got reworked and refined over time. And then if I do have an idea, maybe I'll make like a note or two somewhere, just so I don't forget what I wanted to do with a character. But a lot of the time I don't forget because they're like right in my face, and it's just really easy to remember what certain characters were made for. Obviously, when it comes to like the adopts, it's harder to say what exactly their purpose is because a lot of them I just kind of picked because I liked how they looked, or there was some idea that came to mind when I adopted them, type of thing. So if there is something in or planned for them, it'll be whatever I initially wanted them for. But sometimes there are like others I'm just like, okay, I like that character's design. I don't want anybody else getting that character because I know they'll waste it. And so I'll adopt them so I can hold on to them and use them for what I wanted to use them for. Yeah, it's a slow burn because I adopted so many, and then I have my own characters too to use. But for like some of the shorter stories that I'll get around to, those would be like their purpose. And with ones with longer stories, they'll have like a little bit more presence. But yeah, I definitely adopted the characters I adopted because I saw a lot of potential in those characters, and I didn't want them to just be adopted just for their appearance, and then that's it. Like, they're not going to be used. The end. Like, that's it. They're just trophies, I guess, to be the best way to put it, or collectibles. And then on the other hand, there's like, I wanted to support the artists that I thought did really good with certain designs. So sometimes I would put in the extra money for like the full reference or whatever it is they were offering for the adoptable. So if it was something plausible, then I would do it. But now I have more than enough. I'm not adopting anymore. I'm done. I have more adopts than I could possibly need. And if there's something else I want, I will make my own version. I'll be like, alright. Oh, it's like, okay, robot woman with a boombox, pigtails, and, I don't know, werewolf face. You look nice, but I'm gonna make my own version. And then we go from there. And that's when we learn not to do that. Oh, God damn it. And I mostly say I'm not a writer because I just view myself differently than people that actually write and make scripts. It's kind of like one of those, like, I don't want to step on toes type of thing because I don't view myself in the same league, I guess would be the best way to phrase it, or category. But if I am getting better, at least when I think about how I'm writing making the characters and the stories, then that's good. Okay, clean that. Now let's put the stuff on your eyes. let's deselect so that way the line art is affected. But yeah, I do want to learn, actually let's fix her eyelashes. I do want to learn how to do animatics or the type of animation that Ridiculous Cake does, or that Lady Luck Fate does. I want to learn that. And luckily, Ridiculous Cake does have a couple of tutorials out that I can look at. And I already know how to do it. It's just there's just some parts of it that I need a little bit more visual aid to understand. Because I know a lot of it, because like with Zonk Punch too, Zonk Punch used to do this. A lot of it is just building the assets, cutting them all into pieces, and then animate them the way you want to animate them. And then if there's like any extra shit, you gotta add that in too along the way at certain key points in time. Like, I get it. I just feel I need to see like a couple more tutorials about it to fully wrap my head around it and then go from there. And then the only other thing that's stopping me is just the setup of how animation is on Clip Studio. And I did get a plugin to help that out, so that way when I use it, it'll set up a folder for me pretty easily. So I just need to brushing up on stuff like that, and then I can try doing some animation. Even if it's like something simple like the ones that Dives does. Or if it's only like a couple seconds long type of thing. So there are a number of things I want to do. There we go. And then she needs her blush. I usually put it at 50%. Then all that's left is this. And then we'll grab a beach background for her. Let me look at the others that I did. Where are you? No, that is a different thing. I could probably use Tiffany's again, since hers was mostly aimed at the sand. Definitely not a VTuber thing. Those things take fucking forever to rig. Like, I do know somebody who could rig, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, acting it out, no. I'd rather animate it. Either either the style that Ridiculous Cake uses, or you know, regular animation style. Either or. But I'm fine just like doing small little short animation thingies for now to kind of get used to the method, and then um, and then do some excuse me, and then do something bigger. And I am not seeing. What did I use on Tiffany? Hold on, let me bring up Tiffany's. Now this can go two ways. Either I saved her background, or I completely deleted it at some point. So let's find out. No, it's here. Jesus. Wait, is this the same one that I used for... No, it's not the same one that I used for Jupiter, is it? Let me see. Jupiter, what did I use for you?
The game's over.
No, they are not the same. Okay. Now, the problem is that there are parts of this that are blurred that shouldn't be blurred because they were used for Tiffany. So unless I go in and get really fucking technical, it's doable. I just gotta go in there with a decent eye. Pull it up just a bit more so that it doesn't look like she's so tall. Alright, how are we doing this? So about here. Inverse. And I think I did 40%. Or 40, whatever this is. Let's see how that looks. Let's try. Look at it again at 40. Okay, 40 seems to match, but something's missing. That's okay, because I know how to bullshit this. Do this I could probably blur. Well, it's mostly in line with the other beach pics where there's no other people around, but they could be all there together, type of thing. So she's like looking at the viewer, being embarrassed that she's here. She's more like, do I really need to come here? And then maybe eventually I'll put them all in like one giant pic or something. Although some of them will have to have more full body pics or something to line up well. Which is not hard to do, it's just time consuming. Like, for example, I could take this picture, make it smaller, and put her like somewhere in the background, and then I just have to draw her feet and then make sure the feet are lined up with her art style. But yeah, this is just lining up with the other artwork that was done. Okay, what else did I do with Tiffany? Did I give her No, I did not do that. That's a whole other thing. What was this? Nothing important. Nothing important. Okay. We are almost done, so I'm gonna play this while I finish this up. Actually, let's just pick this one. Although Jupiter was the only one that was given a black border around hers. I don't think Tiffany got one, no. Yeah, I could. I mean, there are multiple ways I can go about this. This is just simple because it's a basic drawing. It's not like super complicated or anything. And then if I want to add a little bit more detail, I can do this. Like, this is pretty much unnecessary, but I'm gonna put it here anyway. Just a little bit of shadow to make it look like she's standing in some form of space. It's not needed, but I just put it there anyway. Alright, we're pretty much done with this. So let me just tag it. And maybe I'll add a dialogue after the stream. Oops. Throw this in. And it's done. I could see Blake doing that. Like, damn, Abby. And Marcy being like, Blake, geez. And she's like, what, Marcy? Like, why don't you get in there too? And, like, both of you show what you got. But yeah, so here's Abby. I will post her soon. I'll probably add some dialogue just making her nervous about showing up to a beach with looking all chubby, wearing a one piece. And yeah, and we'll just post it. So got done a lot faster than I thought. Well, obviously because of the background was nothing, but got done with her pretty quickly, probably because she's just a simple character. She's literally a blue fucking bird. That's it. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I will stream again in the morning. Basically, to spend the rest of the night finishing the last piece for the collector set, and then work on secrets, and then maybe for the morning stream I'll work on a slice of life or something. But yeah, you guys have a good night, and I will